Hello there, people who have access to the internet and who are currently using it to watch this video. My name is PunFood, or just Pun if you prefer. And last time on Super Mario 3D World, we 100%ed World 1, I believe. I want to actually double check that. Yeah, everything looks complete on World 1. Doesn't give you a notification like in You Eat Soup. But, yeah. And we're now in World 2, and I'm going to start off with the Sprixie House, because this is basically just free stamp. It basically just exists to give you the stamp, and that's it. I don't know why they didn't just put those stamps in a level, or, you know, give them to you upon beating the world. I don't know. Anyway, here's World 2-1, Conch-Door Canyon. Also, we're playing as, Green Luigi this time, so, you know, fun stuff. Luigi can jump higher than the others. He doesn't feel skiddy. In the air, he does feel a little extra floaty, but, like, not necessarily in a good way. And more cat suit stuff. Yeah, welcome to the desert world. And people don't really like desert worlds, I guess. Well, I wouldn't say that. I think people just say they're tired of them, and desert is always World 2. You know, no variants. Even though Cloud is also always World 7. So, I don't know, man. Maybe it's just because they feel like Cloud levels are more creative, when in my opinion, they're less creative than desert levels. Like, aesthetically they might be creative, but, like, I think desert levels are mechanically oftentimes home to more unique mechanics and original ideas. Anyway. So, like, and I think the thing is if you're gonna say Cloud is more, and that's not to say everyone thinks that Cloud is more creative because because they're talking about visually speaking, but if you are for that reason, I would say, you know, that applies to every world and every Mario game. They're always visually different in some way. You know, no matter the game. You know, you wouldn't say that Toasterino looks like, you know, You Eat Soup's, Layer Cake Desert. And you wouldn't say that, you know, well, 3D World and 3D Land don't really lean into the desert stuff for every level. But yeah, you still wouldn't say that they look, you know, that, you wouldn't say that New Soup's desert looks like 3D World's desert, you know? So, if the fact it's a desert always over and over bothers you, I don't know. I feel like you're focusing on the wrong things. You should be focusing on mechanics, you know? It's a platformer. Yes, aesthetic can be, you know, important, but the aesthetic is, in my opinion, different enough that it's not a big deal. Anyway, I guess we'll go for the level that doesn't have a giant statue covering it. Wait, that's 2-3, so I guess we will go for the level that has a giant statue covering it. Yeah, but I already had a big discussion about, like, world themes and level themes and whatever, and, I believe it's my You Eat Loogie Soup episode 2? Sounds right. Anyway, and this is the reason why we have the, little cursor when we press the R button, and it is purely because, this game is a port of a Wii U game. And the Wii U did use the gamepad functionality to some extent. Do I recommend a Fire Flower? Well, I do now, I guess. Purely because I didn't have anything, but now I also don't have anything again. I lost my fire flower. Oh well. Using the thing to, hold enemies in place or attack them, can be powerful, but it can also be disruptive if you don't know what you're doing, because you've trained yourself to react to the enemies as they attack you. So suddenly not having them do their normal attack patterns because you're freezing them in place can be a little disoriented, and it can also be hard to use gyro and hold down R and be in control of the game all at the same time. I was greedy for the coins and I missed my chance on the platform. It's fine. I feel like I'm going slower through World 2's levels so far, but I also feel like that's a byproduct of the levels not being as open. And also the small mini Goombas don't act the same as they do in the new Soup series. In this game they actually hurt you. Versus over there where they just attach to you and make you jump slower and slow down you. And slow you down, not slow down you. Well, I guess slow down you wouldn't be entirely incorrect. Like, as a phrase that could exist, but it's incorrect for the circumstance, I believe. Doesn't convey the message as well. It doesn't... But the fact that these levels seem to be a bit more complicated in some ways, and not as easily speed go as fast as possible as World 1's levels is mostly just because if you want to get all the stars, and also I do feel like the levels are somewhat more segmented into different, you know, sections that like require warp boxes, or just it's harder to just speedrun and get every star because some of them are in more difficult to reach locations or require you to do something more specific. And anyway, I mean, what matters is that I'm going through every level and getting every star stamp on top of the gold pole. Although I just remembered, I forget what's down the pipe. Is it? I don't think it's another level. Yeah, it's just a Toad House. I don't particularly need it. I'll save it if I do. Alright. But I just thought of something that I'll mention. Is this my favorite level in this world? Hold on. Yes. Yes, I think it is. Like, the only other level that I think might come close, I feel like has its own flaws as to why I can't pick it, and I think it's more so to do with the level's gimmick than the actual level design itself. Well, I mean, this level's gimmick is shadows, but I guess I just mean, like, I'll explain the other level that I feel like is in contention for this spot when we get to it, but for now, know that this, I think I've decided, is my favorite, and it's probably just for this section alone, where it actually turns into an actual 2D side-scroller during this, you know, in the, you know, wall, in the shadow, you know, section. But I just love how the level uses the shadows that it advertises. Those enemies, on the Wii U, you would normally blow into the microphone to disperse them. Although, yes, the potted piranha plant can also eat them. And also in that mystery box room, you don't actually need to hit the switch. P-switch, you can, if you know that that's back there, you can just go get that, I believe. Anyway, but you know, I like I just like that bit with Bowser, like, being there, but it's just a cardboard cutout of him. I think, like, everything about this level from moment to moment is just so that's clever, you know, kind of feeling. And I keep bumping the, right stick, then changing the camera angle by accident. So, that's a thing. But, a very fun level. And it's one that you can really speed through if you know what you're doing. Anyway, so I guess I'll introduce to you, potentially the, biggest bane of my existence. I plan to segment these, episodes. Actually, I'll go grab that one up. But I plan to segment these episodes, like episode 1, I'll play as Mario. Episode 2, I'll play as Luigi. Episode 3, I'll play as Peach. You know, episode 4, I'll play as Toad or whatever, right? But I just remembered something that kind of goes against that. The characters all have their own advantages and disadvantages, so that make certain levels harder on me, but that's no problem. I believe every level, with the right power-up and all that, can be done with any character, with the exception of 5 levels in the game that all have these specific buttons for you to press to get a stamp. And that's all we needed Mario for, but I'd rather just play through the level once as Mario, which sucks, but hopefully there's a world that Luigi interrupts and a world that isn't, you know, Peach's world, or a world that isn't Toad's world that they interrupt, you know. I believe that there's another instance of that button. I believe that, a couple characters have multiple buttons, but some of them are just for, like, coins, and some of them are for actual stars. I know they all have at least one button that's for a stamp, but I can't remember. I believe Toad has 2 buttons, one of which is for, just the stamp, and one of which is also for a star. I guess it wouldn't be also for a star, it would be for a star rather than something optional. I think Luigi just has 1 that he's, like, required for. But as far as I know, this is the only one that Mario has that actually gives you a thing. But I think before I record any more episodes of this, I'll definitely have to double check on if Luigi is which levels have character switches and which ones actually require you those character switches to be flipped for 100% completion. Anyway, this level is probably my 3rd favorite in the world. No, maybe 2nd. I don't know. It's a really good level. You know, starting off above ground, going below ground. You know, not the greatest revolutionary, you know, theme for a Mario level. But I will say that it's still fun. And it plays around with rolling platforms, which are cool. But don't necessarily think that it's my favorite level. Also, just looking at the time, I feel like I could maybe afford to slow down a bit on some of these levels. Because it feels like I might be still rushing a little. I'll figure out a way to make the episode meet the time that I want it to meet. I don't know. But we're gonna go back to playing as Luigi now. So yeah. Like, I feel like I remember which levels have character switches and know them by heart, but I don't want to accidentally forget one and then have to replay a level because it would disrupt my Let's Playing process if I had to go back to replay a level. Even if I could just cut to when I got the star or stamp or whatever, I don't know. Anyway. Let's go Luigi. Mystery House Melee. So this Mystery House tasks you with taking out 5 different sets of enemies and getting the green stars, moving on to the next one. This one isn't too difficult. In fact, that's the same setup we saw in 1-2, I believe. But the mystery houses can get more difficult as they progress as the worlds go on. Also, it should be noted that you don't just have to take out the creatures, you also, or achieve the objective, you also have to actually collect the green star within that time limit as well. But yeah, they're a great way to get a good chunk of green stars all in one level. Just, you know, a chunk of quick timer challenges, so fast, easy, quick 5 green stars. It counts as a golden flag, I guess, just for beating it, because they don't want you to confuse it and be like, how do I get the golden flag in this level for 100% completion? But it doesn't have a stamp, so, I don't know. Anyway, here's the Big Galoomba Blockade. And in my opinion, I think this is the game where Galoombas officially got their Galoomba name separate from just being the Super Mario World Goombas. Like, they're now actually known as Galoombas. Because I don't think they appeared in any game other than Super Mario World. This game, and, of course, Super Mario Maker. Like, I literally can't think of another game. Anyway. Yeah, I think really Rolling Hills gets to be my second favorite. Well, Shadow Play Alley is my first. But Double Cherry Pass, this is the level that I thought was originally my favorite. But after re-examining it, I now think I just like the Double Cherry power-up, not so much this level. Because I honestly think that it's, pretty generic otherwise. Like, this is one case where I'd recommend Fire Flower, and that's purely because, you can have more fireballs on screen than boomerangs, and they bounce around, so pairing fire with a Double Cherry is one of the few times where I'm like, yeah, Fire Flower is pretty good. I guess I'll grab one for the road, too. The interesting part about Double Cherry is that you control all the clones at once, so moving them around can sometimes be difficult, but usually the levels are structured in a way where you don't need pinpoint accuracy or whatever. Or not accuracy, precision. We need to have at least 2 of these guys here. Because you need to have both the P-switches triggered at once. If you're in multiplayer, you can easily cheese that. I forget if you can use the cursor to trigger that. I don't know. I believe it's this pipe. Here's the checkpoint. So we still need the stamp, and we still need the, something. Also, I don't think we can afford to lose another clone. Oh, never mind. We can afford to lose one more clone. The clones can only take 1 hit each, but effectively that means... Oh, I already messed it up. So the clones can only take 1 hit each, but effectively what that means is that, what? I didn't even mean to... Is this the star or the stamp? Whatever it is, it's always been pretty annoying in my opinion. Because for some reason, the clone always tends to auto... It's a stamp. The clone seems to always, like, auto wall jump, even though I'm not pressing up against the wall in particular in that instance. But yeah, the level outside of being a perfect playground for the Double Cherry doesn't have much originality going for it. It's pretty generic platforms and stuff. But yeah, the clones can only take one hit each, but there is no real Luigi. It's just the last Luigi standing, or last clone, I guess, standing, is the real one. Whether this is just, you know, purely coincidental, and so the, you know, hand waved away as, you know, somehow Luigi is always, you know, it's just Luigi gets lucky, or if it's that it doesn't matter who dies because they all share a hive mind, so they're all Luigi, or if it's one of those cases where it's like, I'm the real Luigi, you know, and the clones are like, well, we're gonna replace you, you know. I don't know. What I do know is that, clones give you extra point at the end, but you can't carry them between levels, and the max amount of clones you can have at a time is 5. Pretty basic stuff. It's interesting that they give you Fire Peach in that level. I guess maybe there are Fire Flowers, and you can play as Princess Peach whenever you want, so I don't know. But here we go, World 2 Castle. Even if this is a shorter episode, I plan to only do one world per episode, because I know that future worlds are gonna be longer. Besides, this level's an auto-scroller, so it should be a pretty set amount of time, at least giving me maybe like an extra couple minutes here. I don't know. This is probably my least... it's an iconic level, but it's probably my least favorite of the end of world... What's this level called? Bowser's Bullet Bill Brigade. Yeah, Bowser's Bullet Bill Brigade is probably my least favorite of, like, the end of world levels. Castles, whatever you want to call it. This isn't really a castle, so that's why I said end of world levels. But it's technically titled, you know, as World 2-Castle. Also, cannon box helmets. You need to make sure this cannon box helmet survives all the way to the end. It can also, like the boomerang flower, collect faraway objects, but you can't use your power-up when you have a cannon box on, with the exception of the floating from the Tanuki leaf and the climbing of the cat suit. Actually, I think you can also claw dive with the cat suit too. Anyway, I needed that. I think there's luckily one more cannon box. Please? We're gonna restart, because I lost my cannon box, and I'm gonna need a new one. At the end. But yeah. This is probably my least favorite. Spoilers. Well, not really like spoilers, but like kind of spoilers. There's another like tank themed level where like you're on a tank and you're moving to the end of the level later in the game, and I think I prefer that one. Not because like I think that one is any more like tank-like, but I think it's just more difficult, so, and the aesthetic of it is just a little better in my eyes. So I think, you know, that's why I prefer it. But otherwise, I think I don't like the tank levels too much, because they're auto-scrollers, but in my opinion, they're not very fun, usually. I don't know. Not a big fan of the tank levels, I guess, is the takeaway. You gotta be kidding me. Please. Like, I swore there was an extra cannon box hat. We're just gonna restart. Well, the episode's probably gonna hit half an hour at this rate. It's very easy to lose your cannon box helmet to these block steppers. I believe that's their official name. I hope that's not a made-up name that I've been using all these years. Well, I guess every name is technically made up, but you know what I mean. So... Sorry, I'm just really focused. I thought I'd be done with the level by now, but I guess I was wrong. I don't know, I'd say World 1 Castle is probably, just above the 2 tank levels. Because it's World 1 Castle, right? So, it's solid, but in my opinion, it's not going to be the most fun, you know, end of world level. Because it's not difficult, but it's not necessarily, you know, mechanically interesting either. Yeah, I think it's definitely... But I think the tank levels just aren't fun in the way that they're auto-scrollers, but they're... I don't think that being on the tanks is a cool setting for an auto-scroller. My personal opinion. So, now you will see why I reset. There's this wall that can only be broken with a cannon box blast. And it had the last green star, so I needed the cannon box, and I would have rather just restarted than beat the level and have to come back and play it again. Anyway, this Boom Boom fight is pretty fun. I say it's pretty fun, but honestly, it's not really anything super unique. It's basically 3D lands Boom Boom. He spins around and goes in his shell after you hit him. But what's different about 3D World's Boom Boom is that he goes invisible. And I feel like for 3D World, they went with the whole, like... Because in 3D Land, Boom Boom just kind of spun around and tried to hit you, and the difference was the arena. And Pom Pom, instead of her shell bouncing, her shell would home in on you and try to smush you from overhead. But also she would throw boomerangs. Versus in this game, you'll see it in a later level, she throws throwing stars, and she uses, you know, like some duplication ninja technique stuff, you know, and Boom Boom uses like ninja invisibility or something. So what I'm thinking is that they went for like a whole Pom Pom and Boom Boom are ninjas thing for this game. Anyway, simple Boom Boom fight, but honestly, yeah, I think this is probably my least favorite end of world level. I think World 2 often ends up being my least favorite, because it's not even like the levels are colorful and fun a lot of the times. And usually they seem like, you know, we're past our introduction, but the levels haven't really increased in challenge or, you know, cool mechanics. And that's the issue with World 2. It often falls to the bottom of my list for that reason in most Mario games, but I guess it's done now. And the Sprixie Princess was kind enough to build us a warp pipe or clear pipe, you know, warp pipe, clear pipe, they're actually different. A clear pipe to World 3. So that's for next time! But for now, my name has been and will be tomorrow, and the day after that, 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 and it always will be Pun Food. You know, I was gonna make cat puns at the end of every episode of this series, but the problem is Luigi isn't really a cat right now, but I guess, I'm fired up to make them the next time we're a cat.